Coming up on today's show, FSLabs with their release of CONCORDEX for P3D, updating for FSX and FSX Steam Edition, RealAir Simulations with a brand new product, their version 2 of the Lancair Legacy, and LatinWings with an incredible rendition of Valencia, their Valencia X scenery. All this and more on February's edition of SIMCAST. Hello and welcome to episode 2 of SIMCAST. Can you believe it's actually been a month, 4 weeks since the last episode? Where on earth does time go? Now, first of all, I want to thank you for your support in episode 1. I know there was a bunch of feedback and a bunch of questions, and hopefully I'll be able to answer some of those in today's episode. This month has a lot of news, an insane amount of news. We were on 34 articles last month. This month has just shy of 65. There's a lot to get through, so bear with me. I'm still going to do the quick fire stuff. I'm going to make it a little bit shorter though, as in I'm not going to babble about each individual product too much, but at least you'll get an overview of everything that's happened. And then of course this month we have the announcement of the winner of the giveaway from last month. We also have a new giveaway for this month, and also as promised I'll be answering some of your questions. Now, from the last episode, a bunch of you said that you felt like this was slightly scripted, or you felt that I was talking in a bit of a robotic way. I'll be the first one to admit, when I listened to it back after editing it, it did sound like that, but I can promise you there is not a script in sight. These episodes take a long time to make, and one of the reasons why they take such a long time to make is when I do the voiceovers, everything is raw. So I have to edit my own voice, because sometimes you're in the middle of a sentence and you get sidetracked or you start talking about something else, and then in the end it doesn't make any sense. So for that, I apologize, but hear it from me, there is no script in sight, and that's how it will stay for the remainder of however long this thing lasts. Once again, thank you for the support. I'm glad you're enjoying these episodes. They will continue to run for as long as you guys continue to watch them and partake in them and enjoy them, and judging by how well episode 1 went down, they should last for the foreseeable future. However, I could sit around and talk about that all day, but we have some news to go through, so let's do that. Okay, first up, the Concorde. Now, the Concorde has been out for some time. I think since, 2011, I want to say, was the first time I got my hands on it. And I had it for FSX, and I couldn't fly it. Now, the issue I always had was, like many of you, was it would run out of memory. It has a lot of 2D pop-out panels, and apparently loading those into memory for flight sim, especially FSX, just doesn't go very well. So once you load maybe 6 or 7 of those pop-out panels, which you have to do by the way because the VC is only about 70% clickable, although it's fully modeled as in the actual physical polygons are there for the buttons and the switches, you can't click on them, you have to use the 2D panel. So opening the 2D panels, although it's very intuitive, you run out of memory very, very fast. So I had this in FSX and I couldn't fly it. I would get 10% of the way through my flight and then it would crash and it would run out of memory. And yeah, you can use autosave and there are a bunch of ways around it. You can save the flight before you know it's going to crash, this, that and the other, but it just ruins the immersion. A crash now and again, reloading through autosave I can kind of deal with, but having to use autosave all the time just to get from A to B, it gets a little bit on the frustrating side. However, it didn't work in P3D. When P3D came out, if you ported the Concorde across using the migration tool, some of the gauges just outright refused to work. So it was rendered useless in P3D. That is until this month, or no, last month, January, when they released the version 2, or it's not really version 2, they released the update for Concorde, as in it's a brand new product for P3D, it's now fully compatible with P3D, and also they've updated it for FSX and also now brought it to FSX Steam Edition, which I guess is a good thing for those of you who choose to go down that route. Now the great thing is, because the way P3D now in version 3 manages memory, the chances of you running out of memory are reduced significantly. However, I will say I've still run out of memory a few times, but nowhere near as much as last time. They reduced the vast footprint of the Concorde by, I think they said 350 meg, something like that, and it is noticeable. I mean, you can be sat on the ground at Heathrow with all the traffic and all the weather, and I'm only hitting anywhere between 80 and 85% virtual memory used, which in FSX would be hitting 90s plus, and then bang, it crashes. So, you know, you can get off the ground at Heathrow, you can get on your way, you can do what Concorde was supposed to do, and it works. Now, I mean, okay, I don't know how I feel about this. They essentially updated it, and for the update you have to buy it again if it's a P3D copy you're after. If you have it in FSX already, then you are entitled to a free update. That's the same for FSX Steam Edition 2. If you have purchased the Concorde, if you purchased the Concorde over a year ago from, well, when they released it in January, then you have to pay a re-download fee of $4.99. I guess that just covers their server costs, which, you know, $5 for a re-download of a product that is almost a gig in size. You can't really complain. I mean, yeah, it is what it is. They let you have it for a year, and then after that you have to pay for the re-download service. Some of you are going to like that, some of you aren't. But that's just the way it goes. If you want the P3D version, you have to pay for it again, and if you want the FSX version, and you already own the FSX version from the old edition, then you are entitled to just grab the update free of charge, minus the caveat of that download charge if you purchased it over a year ago. So that's the Concorde. Very well done. I'm going to have some videos on it very, very soon. It's always the most rewarding add-on you can possibly fly. I did some Twitch streams with it, and it was thoroughly enjoyable. We went from Heathrow to JFK, and then back to Heathrow, and everyone joined in, and it was great fun, and I fell out the sky, and yeah, 10 out of 10 would recommend. Next up on the list of things to talk about, ORBEX with the MEIGS field. Well, isn't that a blast from the past? MEIGS field takes me all the way back to, I want to say, FS95. That was the place that it spawned in the default 2D Cessna panel, and that was my very first memory, I guess, of Flight Simulator. Anyway, it's completely different now. The rendition they've done of the FSX Steam Edition and prepared version is just insane. The detail again. ORBEX, you know what ORBEX are like. They don't really shy away when it comes to making incredibly detailed airfields, and this is definitely no exception. They've modeled the airfield, and they've also modeled pretty much everything around the airfield as well. If you took a screenshot of the FS95 version of MEIGS field and then put it alongside of the ORBEX one, it's nowhere near the same. It's unrecognizable. But it's also very nostalgic, and I think that it's well worth the get if you want to rekindle your love for flying old school. Next up, from LatinWings, where on earth did this come from? Another one, kind of like how Digital Design just said, here you go, have Salzburg. They've kind of done the same thing with Valencia. Now, unless I'm missing something, I didn't see any previews of this anywhere. And I really should know this, considering I get all of the news sent to me on a monthly basis. However, I logged in one day and there it was, and I took a look at it, and it's absolutely fantastic. It's also only €19.95, which is just what? For a scenery of that complexity is pretty insane. They've also modeled the harbour and also nearby places too. If you're a fan of the geography of Valencia, you'll know more about that than I do. But it's stunning. It's absolutely stunning. I did not expect it to be that good. I saw the preview shots and I was like, okay, yeah, that looks pretty cool. Got into the sim. Wow. Performance is fantastic. Vast footprint, again, brilliant. No issues. Yeah. There's not much more to say about that. It's very, very good and very well done for LatinWings. I don't think I've ever had a scenery from them before, so I actually almost got them mixed up with Latin VFR, which is not the same company. But no, LatinWings are the people that actually made the Valencia X. So yeah, you can go and pick that up. $19.95, as I said, available at whichever vendor of choice. Okay, the last thing on my list before we move into the bulk of the smaller updates is from RealAir Simulations. They've released the Lancair Legacy version 2. Now, it's really difficult to actually keep up with RealAir because they upgrade upon upgrade upon upgrade. However, I think I've kind of got the gist with the way they're doing it with the Lancair. If you have version 1, okay, you can upgrade to version 2 of the same platform. So, for example, if you have the Lancair Legacy version 1 in FSX, you can upgrade to the Lancair Legacy version 2 in FSX. You cannot upgrade Lancair Legacy version 1 in FSX to Lancair version 2 in P3D. They have to match. RealAir, like A2A and people like that, PMDG, have decided to have a pricing model where you have to buy the FSX version and the P3D version separately. However, unlike PMDG and A2A, they are exactly the same price. So, for the FSX full version, it's just under €35, and the same for the P3D full version. You can buy that from their store. I don't know if you can buy it anywhere else, but the links will be available on the SIMCAST.net website if you wish to check that out. As far as what actually comes with it, well, they've updated a bunch of stuff. They've implemented the use of the Flight 1 or the Reality XP GPS software, i.e. the GTN 750. You also have an option now in the version 2 to switch out the engine. You can change it up to a 400 horsepower turbocharged engine, which replaces the 310 horsepower engine. That's the lower rated one. And it says here, according to my notes, the turbocharged engine, so the 400 horsepower one, can cruise at 300 knots and can fly as high as 35,000 feet. What? Is that a typo? Can it really cruise that high? Whatever, it is what it is. Anyway, apparently that's what you can do. So you can swap out the engine. They've updated the VC. They've updated the texturing. They've updated the way everything shakes. They've updated the P3D shadowing and the reflections and this, that, and the other. You can pretty much find an entire changelog on their website. Oh, by the way, they've included an oxygen system as well. And they've also included a hypoxia simulation, which is interesting. For those of you that have ever seen the video on YouTube with the pilot that becomes hypoxic, it's an interesting watch. All of a sudden, he starts speaking as if he's having a stroke, and then when he descends and comes out of a hypoxic state, he's talking like nothing has happened. So there you go. Anyway, enough about that. If you want to check out anything to do with RealAir and the Lancair, you can check that on the simcast.net website. The links will be just under the video, and then you'll have a nice big button on the right to click. Okay, now for the bulk of the quick-fire updates. As I said in the intro to this, there is a lot to go through. There's almost 65 bits of information coming your way. So, here goes. Kicking the month off, starting with January the 1st, PMDG came out with an update for the 777, apparently fixing OOMs with approximately 38% more memory available. It's cut down by about 250 megabytes. They also added the new taxi camera into the VC. It was available as a 2D pop-out. It's now available in the VC. However, it still does hit hard on the frame rates. You can download the PMDG 777 update by logging into your account and downloading it from there. Next up, QUALITYWINGS with their Q4 update, kind of Q4 from last year. I don't know why it's been posted in January's update. Apparently the heads-up display is taking a lot of their time, and they're still working on it, so whatever's going on there is going on there. All liveries are completed, the FMS is practically complete, but they're still fixing stuff, and they've added some realistic sounds. They've also confirmed their attendance at Flight SimCon 2016. Up next, Gaia Simulations showcasing some Brussels previews. On the same day, Project 79 releasing some Damam interior preview shots. It's actually quite cool. If you look closely, you can see that they've modeled the TV screens, the logos, and even check-in labels with specific airlines. Continuing on into the month, CARENADO with their C90X GTX King Air release. The feature list is quite extensive, but it's CARENADO. And Golden Age Simulations have announced the start of development on their project, the Ryan SCW. Veden Designs released BILLUND previews. And then Mega Scenery Earth released Florida 4X PHOTOREAL. On the same day, Real World Scenery released Bahrain. And moving forward, Active Sky Next released their Service Pack 4. On the same day as that, Eagle Rotorcraft Simulations releasing previews of their Hoplite. And then someone that was clearly taking acid decided to release a paramotor for FSX and P3D. Moving on to the second week in January, MILVIZ coming at us with some Super Cobra previews. MILVIZ again, also with the C-130J previews, the Super Hercules. Orbex released Cloverdale. Reality Sim released Seattle City. And Tabaret, the people responsible for all of the lighting, released a region for the Philippines and Taiwan. Next up, IXEG gave us some sound previews. And then Blue Sky Star Simulations with their A320 CFM sound replacement pack for the AEROSOFT Airbus. Next up, Wilco with their Falcon 7X previews. And that concludes the second week in January. Starting the third week in January, AEROSOFT treating us to more ASPEN previews. And then, what a surprise, CARENADO releasing an update for the GTX they released 2 days before. Oh, as well, CARENADO, they also released some CJ2 previews. They're on a roll. January 16th, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 updates. Number 1, FSFX Packages Q1 update was released. The Just Flight Tornado CR1 was released. PMDG announced that they were adding a 5th engine to their 747. Rex Essential Overdrive Service Pack 4 was released. Rolling Cumulus Software releasing Paraguay Bush Pilot Pack. No idea. And last of all, UK 2000's Humberside was released. Towards the end of week number 3, Just Flight with the F4U Corsair previews and Veden Design Real Denmark X previews. Ending the last week of January, starting with January 21st, Celio Sim Jacksonville previews and Mega Earth Scenery releasing Massachusetts 4X PHOTOREAL. January the 23rd, AEROSOFT announced Approaching Quito was coming soon. CARENADO again with more previews, this time of the Aero Commander. FSFX have now declared that all of your products are now available in one place with their VFX Central. Hallelujah. And Imagine Sim decided that they were going to introduce SOD, the Sim Object Display Engine, into their Atlanta scenery. January the 24th, Captain Sim 7 in with Nuremberg update pictures. And then on the same day, TFDI with an update on the 717. January the 25th brings Alabeo with the PA-23 AZTEC previews. Also, MEIGS High Flight releasing an airport in Mexico that I cannot pronounce. However, the code is Mike Bravo Tango. Apparently, it's an airport that's a popular tourist airport in Mexico, and it serves domestic traffic from around surrounding Mexican airports. Same day, the company that made that Bush pack made something called AIRFIELD Inspection Pack. I don't know what's going on there, but you can check that out. And on January the 26th, the second bit of X-Plane news this month has been pretty dead for X-Plane. The Bucharest scenery for X-Plane is on its way. Next up, FSLabs with the A320 promo video made by Airline to Sim, and Orbex Stockholm almost released. Moving on, FS Cubed releases version 2.0. Just Sim released the Blue Danube Airport. And finally, for January the 27th, Orbex releasing the Lima 70 Airport, which is actually part of the Pilot Edge coverage. It's in Los Angeles County in California. Only a few days of the month left to go, but still an absolute ton of news. January the 28th, Alabeo announces the C441 Conquest 2. Active Sky Next releases Service Pack 4.1. And the company that I can never pronounce, Something Design, gives us previews for their new Chisinau scenery, if that's how you pronounce it. It actually looks pretty cool. On the same day, Iris gave us some Pilatus PC24 previews, and Real-Time Simulations announced Chicago O'Hare. To finish off the 28th, Tabaret back again with the Bolivia and Paraguay region released. January the 30th, AZURAFILES releases BILLUND, which is interesting because I swear I just had Veden Design showed us previews of BILLUND. Okay, no problem. France VFR releases Paris, and ORBEX releases Notterdam. January 31st and the end of the bulk news, AEROSOFT announces a brand new rendition of Approaching Innsbruck. And last but not least, ORBEX with Asiago Airport. Okay, now that's out the way, time to answer some of your questions. I asked you in the last month's episode to write questions in the comment section below, and I would pick a few at random. I've picked 5, so we have 5 to go through. Now you might think 5's not a lot, but if I answer them in a relatively decent amount of detail, it can drag on a little bit. So, without further ado, Ray Woodman, hello Ray, how long approximately did it take you to record and edit this SIMCAST video? Well, I assume you were talking about last month's one, but really, they're all going to take about the same length of time. It takes about 12 hours, somewhere in that region. Once all of the news is collected from the previous month, which I don't do, that's done by the guys at Flight Sim Central, I then have to bring all of that into Adobe After Effects and also into Premiere Pro, edit it all together, then do a voiceover, edit that voiceover. Once all that's done, master the whole lot, then render and upload, and away it goes. So it takes about 12 hours. That's why I can only do it once a month, and that's why I'm never going to be doing it any more frequently than once a month. Unless I have a crazy team behind me, which is not going to be happening anytime soon. Hayden Fox asks, how do you feel about PMDG starting to move to X-Plane with their DC-6 and hopefully other aircraft? Well, hello there Hayden, how are you doing? Right, first of all, regardless of what I feel about PMDG or anything like that, I am not opposed to developers that create high quality, high fidelity add-ons moving into other platforms. X-Plane has been in dire need for a long time of someone to come along and make something that is outstanding, and although people have tried, nothing yet has really done that for me. Although there are some pretty good add-ons out there for X-Plane, none of them have quite hit that sweet spot. So if you get people like PMDG coming across, then variety is always a great thing. Next question coming from Gux. Hello there Gux, how are you doing? I have a question for February. Is there any news of a new flight simulator for 2016 with compatibility with DirectX 12, etc., such as Dovetail, after buying the flight simulator franchise off Microsoft a couple of years ago? Well, when you posted that question, Gux, Dovetail had not announced the fact that they were actually planning on releasing 2 flight simulators this year. They announced that on the 11th of February. So that was 2 days ago for me, but they are planning on releasing 2 flight simulators this year. One is based around a flight school, and that will be available in April of this year. And then the other one is based around a full global flight simulator, such as what you would see in FSX and P3D and X-Plane. And that's going to be available in the latter part of the year, to quote exactly what they said. Now, I also know of another flight simulator which is in development, but sadly, due to the fact that I am held to ransom over an NDA, I can't say anything about that. But as soon as I can, I'll let you know. Next question's coming from Boston Featherstone. Hello, Boston. Hey, Matt, I have a question for you. What is your favorite scenery and aircraft for FSX and P3D, and why? Nice question. It gets asked a million times a day, so I figured I would answer it in this SIMCAST episode. Scenery for me at the moment is the ORBEX Stockholm Arlanda scenery. It is fantastic. People are complaining about memory issues. I've not hit those yet. But for me, just the whole environment, how everything is moving, it's all 3D, everything is reflective. You can see through the windows in the terminals. You have the snow effects. You have the reflections if you're using P3D. Oh, it's just so nice, beautiful scenery, and that for me at the moment is my favorite. As far as aircraft go, Majestic's Q400 will always win it, unless of course FSLabs bring out an A320 that tugs at my heartstrings. Finally, Question from Naheed125. I hope I pronounced that right. If not, I am sorry. Matt, what aircraft are you looking forward to the most this year? Well, I think I've said this for a very long time. I am looking forward to, without a doubt, the FSLabs A320. However, having said that, I hope the A2A simulation surprises us with a Piper Seminole, because I really, really want a good twin. We've got the Cessnas, we've got the Pipers, we've got the single prop aircraft. Now I want a twin. So if they do something with the Piper Seminole, which they haven't really officially stated they're doing that, but I have a feeling that they may be, then that's going to be also incredibly good, and also one of the things that I will most look forward to this year. Okay, with the questions out the way, now it's on to probably 99% of the reason why you're here. It's the giveaway. Now, the giveaway for last month ended just yesterday evening, and I have the winner for you here. The giveaway prize for last month was a copy of the FSFX Packages 737 Immersion, a copy of Taxi to Gates Munich, a copy of Digital Design Salzburg, and also a copy of Orbex's FTX SoCal Southern California region. 4 prizes. Awesome amount of prizes to be won there, and 8,601 of you decided to enter. So whoever wins this, well, can you please put my lottery on for next week, because that's pretty intense. If you don't win this month, don't worry. Every single month we run a giveaway which includes products from the top featured products of that episode. So you will basically have a chance to win some pretty awesome stuff once every 4 weeks. So without further ado, the winner for this month is a chap called Ed Donald. Congratulations, Ed. You were picked out randomly from the website which I used for everyone to enter. If you are Ed and you want to announce that you've won, you are more than welcome to write in the comments that you are you, and I'm sure everyone will either congratulate you or tell you how much they hate you. Ed, I'll be in touch with you at the start of next week to how you claim your prizes. I'm streaming all weekend, so I won't have a chance to sort it out for you, but from Monday, I will deal with that for you. And once again, congratulations. Now, for February's giveaway. Sometimes I regret things in life, and one of them was probably saying that I'm going to use the featured articles of the month as giveaways, because this month's featured articles are pretty intense as far as my bank balance, but that's fine, we're all good. Okay, FSLabs Concorde is your first prize up for grabs. Second, LatinWings Valencia X. Third, Orbex's MEIGS Field. And finally, the RealAir Lancair Legacy V2. So for February, you've got a chance of winning 2 aircraft and 2 bits of scenery. Same as last time, I'll put the links below on how you can enter. You will have 4 weeks from the moment this goes live. The competition will close the night before the next episode, and you will be notified in the episode if you have won or not. I wonder if we can beat 8,601 entries. That would be interesting. Either way, good luck. Okay, so that concludes episode number 2 of SIMCAST. I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you as always for the support. And until episode 3, I bid you all farewell. Take care, and bye-bye.